Hey you all, most hi to fellow dressmakers. You're welcome to another interesting tutorial. I'm Confidence. On today's episode of What I Saw versus What I Made, I saw the purple on the right and I made the green on the left. So if you're interested in learning how to go about the pattern drafting and the cutting of this dress, kindly watch this video to the end and let's get right into it. So on my pattern paper, I already have the shoulder line, the chest line, the bust point, the under bust, and the waistline. I'm going to get the shoulder slope here, 1 inch. Then on this point, I'll be coming in 3 inches, and then I'm going to slant it from the 1 inch to the 3 inches. The next thing I'll be doing now is to get the midpoint of this line. I'm going to measure all of them. Then I'm going to divide it into 2 equal halves. Then on that part, I'll be going in by 1/2 inch. Now I'm going to come to the chest line and take the bust measurement divided by 4. And then I'm going to use my curve to curve the armhole. That's like connecting these 3 points. Now I'm going to get the bust span divided by 2. That's your nipple to nipple. I'll mark that on the bust point and on the waistline. Then I'm going to connect the 2 points to make a straight line, and that would be the dart line. I'll come to the waistline. On both sides of this line, I'll be marking 0.75. Then I'll come to the under bust, 0.75 going to the center front. Yeah. Then I'm going to place 1.75 on that point and mark it here. That's like using 1.75 to tighten my under bust. And that's like 0.75 going to the center and 1 inch going to the side. Okay. Now, after extending it from the under bust to the waist dart intake, I'm going to use my curves to curve from the under bust to the bust point, just the same way you can see me do it. The next thing I'll do now is to take the waist measurement divided by 4 on the waistline, my waist circumference divided by 4 plus the 1.5 dart intake. I will replace that. Then I'm going to connect it to the bust measurement I already have on the chest line this way. I'll come to the under bust and come down 1.5 because that's the difference between my front length and my back length. Then I'm going to slant it to the bust span like this. Now I'm going to get the armhole curve using this curve, and I forgot to mention that for the reference style she did bustier with yoke, but I choose to do armhole princess bustier because I want the style, not her method of bustier. Okay, so if you want, you can do the bustier with yoke. And then after getting the line, I'm going to measure it just the same way you can see me do it, and I will make sure I measure this correctly. Then after that, I'm going to come out here by 1 inch. Now I have this, so I'm going to measure whatever it is I have here. I'm going to make sure I have that same thing on this 1 inch. Okay, so this is the 1 inch, and now I have the same value I have on the actual armhole princess line or curve. Okay, so now I'm going to place my curve this same way you can see me do it, and I'm going to curve it to meet the one coming from the under bust, just like this. And then of course I'm going to recurve the armhole because we will no longer be needing the previous armhole curve. All right, the next thing I'll be doing now is to do the neckline, and I will be doing 4 inches as the neck width. If you want it wider, you can do that. Then I'll be going down to, I actually thought I did 8.5 here. Trust me, I wanted to do 8.5, but I guess I miscalculated, but 8.5 would have done it for me. So now, once you have your desired neck depth, you're going to come on this neck width side, and then you're going to go down 1.5 before what you have on the center front. Then on that point again, you'll be coming in from your armhole curve by 2.5 or 2 inches. I did 2 inches here. So from the armhole curve, I came in 2 inches. And now I'm going to connect it from the neck width to that 2 inches. I said I did 2 inches. So I'm trying to make sure I have the 2 inches here. And then you're going to get the 2 inches on your 1.5 before whatever value you have on the center front. I don't know if you understand. But whatever you use as your neck depth on the center front, you're going to come to this side and you're going to stop 1.5 before that same value you have on the center front. Let's say you did 8.5 on the center front, you're going to come down here by 7 inches. Okay, so after covering it like this, I'm going to tighten the neckline so that it will not gape, and of course that will be going to the bust point like this. I did just half inch. You can do more depending on how much you feel your neckline usually gape, especially this kind of neckline. Okay, now for the back, the front and back length is just 1.5 difference, 1.5, and that's the exact 1.5 I used for the bust dart. Now I'm going to come in 1 inch from the center back, and I'm going to use this curve to curve it out this way, and that will be you contouring the center back because it's not straight. Now I'm going to start from this new center back contour line and come in by my bust span. Yeah, the bust span measurement divided by 2. Then I'm going to go up to my dart length of 6 inches. Now I'm going to measure from the previous center back line to the bust span, and whatever I have there, I'm going to mark it on the dart length here, just to have a straight line for my dart intake. Okay, now I'm going to connect the 2 points to make a straight line. Next, I'll be taking in 0.5 on both sides. That's 1 inch. Then I'm going to give it that same dart line that you know. Now I'm going to start from this center back contour line and take the bust measurement divided by 4. Then I'll come to the waist. From the center back contour line, I'll take the waist measurement divided by 4 plus the 1 inch dart intake. I'll replace that. Then I'm going to connect the 2 points this way. The next thing I'll be doing now is to get the neck width of 4 inches, and then I'll be coming down 2.5 here. I think I ended up doing 2 inch using 2 inches. So the actual neck depth for the back is 2 inches, 4 by 2 inches. Okay. Later on we'll be doing the keyhole. Now I'll come down here by 1 inch for the shoulder slope, then come in here 3 inches, and then I'm going to slant the shoulder like this. And of course curve the armhole just the same way you can see me do it. Now I'll do the keyhole, but before you do the keyhole, you're going to create a space for any kind of fastener that you intend to use for the back. Okay, here I came down from the neck depth by 0.75. Then I'll start from the shoulder and go down to the keyhole neck depth. Yeah, and once you have what you desire there, you're going to get it on this other side. Then from that point you'll be coming in by 2.5. We did 2 inches for the front. I choose to do 2.5 on this back. If you want, you can maintain the same 2 inches you did yeah, for the front. Then I'm going to connect it, like rule it out this way, and then use my pencil to create the shape that I want for the keyhole. Once I'm satisfied with what I have, I'm going to use my marker to highlight it so that you see it clearly. And now it's looking like what we have on the thumbnail, even though mine ended up being wider, but yeah, it's the same shape. Now the next thing now is to do the gaping dart. We'll be taking out excess here so that this keyhole will not gape, and I'm doing just half inch around this part that is like really curvy. Then I'll come to here and take out half inch. You can decide to do it from the center back if you want, or you just do it the same way you see me do it. On both sides of the line, I'll be taking in 0.7, no, yeah, 0.25, and that's half inch. Then I'm going to extend that to the dart intake I have on the waistline. Do you get that? So if you want, you can do this half inch from the center back. From the center back contour line, you come in half inch, and then you blend it into the center back contour line you have on the waistline. Still the same thing, it will give you the same results. Okay, so I'll follow the center back contour line and add my 1 inch zipper allowance, and then I'm going to extend it this way and extend the vital point just as you can see me do it. Now another place you can choose to tighten the neckline is this part. You choose to shorten the length, that way it will also not gape. Let me just show you instead of talking. So you're going to connect it somewhere here, mark a line here, and then you do your desired gaping dart value. Okay, so you can do half inch or 0.75 depending on how much you want to take out. And that's basically it. Now I'm going to cut out this part. Yeah, the same way you close the gaping dart, the one I use green for, is the same way you close the one that I said you can decide to shorten the length of the keyhole. Do you get that? I don't want to confuse you, just watch closely. So the same way you see me close the dart is the same way you can use to close that one in case you choose to tighten the keyhole on that point. Do you get? So after closing the waist dart, because I don't want to sew that, I will close the gaping dart this way, and you can see that I didn't cut the keyhole all through because I'll still need to blend this part before cutting it out. So you fold from one line and then you place it on the second line, then you blend in this curve, and of course blend in the armhole curve just as you can see it here. And of course that's pretty much it. You're going to cut out every other part that you should cut. Yeah, I'm also going to use the same method to cut out the front pattern, open up one part and then close the bust dart and then the gaping dart, and then I'll cut every other part out.
It must be you, I'm weak. I need you for my family. It's only been a few days. I set my eyes on you, babe. Is it love at first sight? Turn on the lights, see the mess you made. 1, 2, in love with you. 3, 4, I'm on the floor. Come pick me up, oh, and tell me you know for sure. What do you want me leave if you know believe? I'm not deceived, I'm not deceived. And my love go past the love you give me. If I follow your hand, I beg delete. What do you want me leave if you don't believe?
So after cutting it out, you see me doing what we usually do on this channel, match up this side, both the side front and then the side back. And then I noticed that I need to take out about 0.125, just that, around this part. And after taking it out and matching it again, they are now both equal. Yeah, I will still do this after transferring this pattern to the fabric, and I will be transferring this pattern to this Ankara fabric. Okay, so by the time you'll be seeing this pattern again, I must have transferred it to the fabric, add the interface and cut out the lining too. But for now, let's do the skirt. So because I want mine long length, you see how I folded my fabric. You see the direction the folding is going, so that it will give me the length that I want. So from the waist, I'll go down to the hip line and to the knee line. Then on the waist, I'll be taking the waist measurement divided by 4 plus 1.5 allowance. That's my desired allowance. Then 1.5 again for the dart. Then I'll go to the hip and take the hip measurement divided by 4 plus the 1.5 allowance. If you usually do 2 inches, do it 2 inches allowance here, but I choose to do 1.5. Okay, now whatever it is I have here on the hip, I'm going to come to the knee and minus just 1.5 and take that all the way to the length of the skirt. If you want yours more pencil, yeah, you can do 2 inches or 2.5, but this 1.5, I want it to be free from my hip, kind of down. Yeah, from the hip down. I don't want it to be too tight. I want to be able to walk freely and to jump back. Yeah. So from the intro video, you see that the reference style is just a 3/4, but I want mine long. Okay, it's totally optional. You're going to get this to your desired length, and then you follow every other step you can see here. Now I'll get the bust span on the waistline and then go down to 6 inches as my dart length and get the bust span again on that point, and then I'm going to connect it straight, and that's why I'll be taking in the dart. So on both sides, I'll be marking 0.75, which is the 1.5 I added to this side as the dart allowance. You remember that, right? After adding my 1.5 desired allowance, I added extra 1.5, and that will be for the dart intake. So I'm going to extend the dart legs this way to the dart length, just like this. And that's pretty much about it for this front part. So I'm going to cut this out, and after cutting, I'll go ahead and notch on the dart legs because I don't want to cut it out. And when I cut out the lining too, I'll also notch on the dart legs so that it will be easy for me to sew. Now for the back, I created this space that you can see here of about 4 inches because of the kind of slits I'm working with. I want the one that is popularly known as open and close. That means my measurement will be starting from this line you see that went down. So on the waistline, I'll be coming in 1 inch. You remember we also use 1 inch to contour the center back for the upper bodice. I'm doing the same thing on this skirt. So 1 inch, then from the hip, I'm going down 6 inches because I want to assume that that is my underbutt. And then on that point, I'll be going in by 0.75. So I'm going to connect from the 1 inch I have on the waist to the hip. Then from the hip to the 0.75 I have at the under butt line. Do you get? Then I'm going to take it from that under butt all the way to the length of the skirt. So now I'll take the waist measurement from that center back contour line, the waist measurement divided by 4, plus the 1.5 I'm using as the allowance, and then 1.5 for that. I ended up not doing that because there's no that at the upper body, so there's no point sewing that at the down part, except if it's necessary. But it wasn't needed for this particular project. So yeah, I'll take the hip measurement divided by 4 on the hip line plus the 1.5 allowance. Then I will minus 1.5 from what I have on the hip and mark that on the knee. Then I'm going to connect it this way you can see me do it. So this was when I realized that I don't even need this dart. Yeah, I closed the darts at the upper part, so I might as well not sew on the down part. Then I'm going to connect from my actual waist measurement divided by 4 plus the 1.5 allowance to the hip, then from the hip to the knee, and then from the knee, I'm going to take it all the way down. Whatever it is I have on the knee, I'm going to make sure I have that exact value from the knee to the hem of the skirt. Yeah. So now from the knee line, I'll be coming up 3 inches because that's where I want my slit to start. Like I said, I want to be able to walk freely and climb bike. Yeah, this will create so much room for that. Then you know that I usually like to curve mine this way. If you don't want to curve, you can decide to just cut it the same way. But then I'll have to add zipper allowance before this curve. So from the center back contour line, I'll do 1 inch on the hip. I'll be doing 1.25, I guess. Then I'll come to the knee and mark half inch. Now I'm going to connect from the waist to the hip, then from the hip to the knee. And you can see how I'm placing my curve. Okay, so this other half inch we have on the knee is just as a guide so that you do not have unnecessary allowance where it's not supposed to be. And now I'm going to give it that slight curve I said I like. And that's pretty much about it. Now I'm going to cut this out. So after cutting this out, I will go ahead and cut it out on the lining. I'm not interfacing both the fabric and the lining for this skirt. And then I'll do the same thing for the upper part. Then in the coming video, I'll be showing you how to sew this gown, how to do the draping, and how to do the sleeve. And it's going to be so much fun. So I hope that I see you in my next video. Be good. Bye.